Hey there, welcome back to the channel. My name is Andrew Clark, and in today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the Joyo American Sound. So here on this channel, I've made a lot of videos about the Universal Audio Dream 65 and also the Strymon Iridium. And since then, I've had a lot of people sliding into my DMs on Instagram and also commenting on those videos telling me to check out this pedal. So the whole line of Joyo amp-in-a-box pedals has been around for a little while. And this one specifically is designed to do an American sound. So very much a bunch of different Fender style amps. Internally, it's very similar to the Tech 21 Blonde. Now we're gonna get into a whole bunch of sounds here in a minute, but what makes this thing so incredible is the price. Because you can get one of these for like $40 US and even cheaper in other countries. So a lot of videos I see on these amps and pedals spend a lot of time working through break up tones. So distorted and overdriven tones that you can get just from the pedal. And what they don't talk about enough, in my opinion, is how these amp-in-a-box pedals work as a clean pedal platform. When you're in the studio or you're at home playing, yeah, it's cool to be able to crank up your amp pedal and get distorted tones without worrying about other pedals. But if you are a gigging guitar player, you probably have a pedal board and a bunch of pedals that you want to run into this amp sim. So we'll be comparing the Joyo with my Universal Audio Dream 65. It's not a totally fair comparison because obviously it is 1/10 of the price. The UA Dream is $400 while the American Sound is only $40. But here we're going to see how a budget amp sim pedal competes with the best of the best. So there's going to be no studio magic here. Our signal chain is very, very simple. Everything is laid out in front of me. So we've got the regular pedal board that I use for everything going into an AB switcher that's going to allow us to seamlessly switch between the Dream 65 and the American Sound. Both of those are going into DI boxes and then directly into my Universal Audio Apollo Twin. From there, it's straight into Logic and there'll be no compression, EQ, or other effects added in post. The Cali 76 will stay on all the time. It's set up very subtly, and then we'll also get some spring reverb from the Golden, because even though the Dream has built-in spring reverb, the American Sound doesn't, and I want it to be a fair comparison. Okay, let's take a listen to how they sound clean. When the switcher is set to B, it'll be going through the Dream, and when it is set to A, it will be going through the Joyo. So there's a quick initial comparison. I have them set up quite similarly. The Dream has a very scooped sound with no mid-range control, so it's always gonna sound like that Blackface Deluxe. Where the Joyo gives you a mid control and actually the voice control, which I'll talk about later, that allows you to get a whole bunch of other different kinds of Fender sounds. I found when it's set up this way, it's the closest to the Dream. If you back the mids off all the way, you can get even closer, but I found it doesn't really sound that good without some mids and some voice. So let's just go through and listen to what each knob does. So first up, we've got low here. It's a very deep low end, and because it's so low, like down around 100 Hertz, you have to be really careful. It can get muddy pretty quickly, so I don't really like to let it go past noon here. Next up, we've got the mids, and you can hear how drastic this mid control is. So. To give you context, so you can hear as we turn that mid-range up, obviously there's a ton of mid-range there. The volume, the output of the pedal actually comes up as well. And it interacts a lot with the highs. The highs actually get rolled up as the mids come up. So as a pedal platform, we are gonna definitely keep those mids down to try and get something similar to the Dream. When we want mid-range, we can either reach down and turn that knob up, or we can boost it with like a mid boost. So something like a Klon or a Tube Screamer would work really well. Let's listen to the high control here. So So you can hear the treble control has a pretty standard range. Mostly the usable sounds are gonna be kind of between here and here. Most of the time, especially if you're going for like the clean 60s Fender sound, you're gonna wanna pump those highs up a little bit. Again, the high frequencies are very different from the Dream. So I like to keep this pretty flat on the Dream. Maybe bump the treble up just a notch. With the Joyo, I do like to push the treble up or the high up a little bit more, but you'd have to be careful because this thing can sound a little harsh if you don't set it right. Next up, we've got level. This is super obvious. I don't really need to show you this. This is just your general output, and you're just gonna do this to taste depending on how loud you need to be. Next up, we've got voice. So this is, like I said, where it gets a little bit weird. So So it's adding some of that tweedy character, which you'd also find from increasing the mid-range, but it's very interactive with the drive. So we'll move over to the drive here. Now I have to adjust the level as I bring the drive up because it's a pretty drastic volume change. So you're gonna have to bear with me here, so. So you can hear it can get a lot of gain, but honestly, my recommendation with this pedal is not really to use it that way. The best thing to do is to keep these voice and drives just up enough so that you keep kind of some of the oomph and character of the amp, but not so much that it's pushing you into tweed territory. That's not necessarily what we want for like that clean pedal platform. Okay, so one other thing with a pedal like this, you might be asking, speaker IRs, cab simulations, what's going on with that? Obviously, we don't have the option. There's no other buttons to change anything when it comes to IRs. And some people are a little bit confused. They kind of think, do I need to get a speaker IR pedal or something to go after it? But no, that's not the case. It's got a built-in speaker IR. You can't change it. You can't bypass it. You can't turn it off. If you do put an impulse response after it, I don't recommend that. Any examples I've heard don't sound good. When I tried it myself with my Celestion IRs, I did not like the sound of it either. It just sounds best on its own. And honestly, the IR in here is actually pretty good. I don't think you're gonna find yourself needing to change it. Any issues you have with the pedal are gonna be more on the front end or a lack of features. Okay, so that's it for the controls. Now we're gonna take a listen to how it takes some different pedals. So let's start with some overdrive. I'll start it off with the Dream and the King of Tone. So this sounds like this. I'm gonna stack a little bit more gain on there so you can hear how it handles that. So I never really go any gainier than that with overdrive pedals, so let's switch over to the Fuzz here. Okay, so alternatively, we can use a different style of overdrive. I'll just quickly set this one up. So something with more mid-range is gonna sound like this. So let's just quickly go through modulation and time-based stuff. This is really obvious. They both sound good with time-based stuff because they're set up clean. If they were set up dirty, maybe they'd struggle a little bit. Here's our clean tone. Okay, so that's it for the comparison. I'm gonna leave you with a few thoughts of mine. To me, the Joyo American Sound actually is a lot closer to the Iridium as far as tone. I still think the Iridium has higher quality tone, but EQ-wise and the way that they're trying to do the Fender amp thing, to me, the American Sound and the Iridium are kind of doing the same thing. They both also give you the flexibility to be able to get tweed sounds as well, which maybe as a pedal platform is not so great, but as something in the studio or at home when you're playing around is a really fun option to have. Now, if you're gonna ask me my opinion on which one sounds better, the Dream or the Joyo, I think it's pretty obvious. I prefer the sound of the Dream. To most of you, the Dream probably did sound a lot better, but you need to remember that this Joyo pedal is $40. So what that means is obviously, yeah, it's not gonna be the exact same. It doesn't keep up. It doesn't have the extra features. Tone-wise, it's not quite there. I think it would cut through a mix a little bit better because it's not so scooped and you have access to that mid-range control, which I wish the Dream had. I wish you could control mid-range a little bit on it. But to me, the Joyo is a no-brainer if A, you don't have a huge budget for an amp and you need some sort of good sounding solution, you're gonna get great tone out of it and it's not gonna break the bank. Or B, you're looking for an excellent backup for your tube amp. Now, tube amps, especially when you're gigging, and if you're gigging a lot, they're notorious for dying. Now, newer ones aren't gonna do this as often, but tubes die, things go wrong. It's older technology. A great thing to have is one of these in your back pocket. So if your amp fries or if you're not happy with the back line at a certain gig, you bring one of these along, you plug straight out of your pedal board into this, go straight into a DI box, and you've got honestly great sounds. In my opinion, this thing might be the best value for money guitar purchase you can possibly make. Now, if you already have a Dream, you have an Iridium, you probably don't need to go out and buy one of these things. They do have other ones as well that do like British style amps. They do like a Marshall and a Vox and I think one other as well. But if you fall into one of the two categories, needing a backup or you need something a little bit more affordable, this thing is awesome. I can't recommend it enough. I'm gonna spend a lot more time with it, so you can expect probably some more videos in the future. I'd like to maybe do a comparison or shootout with the Iridium in the mix and maybe the Walrus ACS1, maybe even HX Stomp as well. But yeah, I just wanna say thank you to everyone who recommended that I try try this thing out because my expectations were very low, but I was left very impressed by this thing. One quick thing, if you are considering picking up one of these pedals, I put Amazon links down in the description, and if you purchase through those, I earn a small commission, which does help support the channel. If you're not comfortable with that, all the information is down there so you can find it on your own as well. So I'd love to know what you think down in the comments below. Do you think the Dream is worth 10 times the price? I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please also consider subscribing to the channel. I release a new guitar video every single week. With all that said, thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you guys in the next one.